Our guest today has a story to tell like many others, but hers is one that will touch and inspire you to achieve great heights. How she forged on and got a degree in microbiology is a story you need to hear. Lost her first child to the cold hands of death, but she's a survivor, and today she empowers other women in Lagos State and beyond. My guest is a self-made woman, Mrs. Chinyere Anukwuru, whose vision is to empower as many women as possible to make Nigeria a greater place, because she knows that to empower a woman means to empower a nation. My name is Edakwili, and today we have Chinyere Anukwuru in the house. She is a woman of substance. Chinyere, welcome to our program.
Thank you very much.
Please tell us about yourself. Use your own mouth and tell us what you do.
Okay, my name is Chinyere Anukwuru, and I'm the founder of Self-Worth Organization for Women Development. It's a non-governmental organization that works with women to empower them. What we do is to look at the local women, the low-income women, the grassroots women. We get them together, we train them on different skills, and not only skills acquisition, but lifestyle, healthy living, and all that they need to stand firm as women. So we train them.
What inspired you? What inspired you to start this?
My story, my background inspired this. I didn't just dabble into setting up a foundation. I intentionally started this foundation. I was born into a very poor family where accessing 3 meals a day was not visible. So growing up in that kind of environment, it was terrible, and I and my other siblings were doing manual jobs from that young age to fend for ourselves. And I made up my mind that whatever it would take me, I would get an education at least. So I started doing childhood buying and selling at that young age, started running errands for people in exchange for food and clothes. And at the end of the day, I got to the university, graduated. I'm cutting so many things short right now. With the hope that after school I'll get a good job, be able to fend for my family and do all that. But it wasn't forthcoming. I didn't get a job. And after some time, I decided to look at what I had at home, a table and a plastic chair. And I became a roadside telephone call operator and recharge card seller on the streets of Lagos. In that same situation, I got married to my husband. Between both of us, we were very poor. I was also a young graduate looking for a job. We couldn't even raise 1.5 for our house rent. At the point I got pregnant, we couldn't raise 1.5.
Is that where you start?
Yes, for antenatal. So poverty took my first child. The first child died because I couldn't even raise 1.5 for scan and all that I needed for that child to survive. At the end of the day, I told God, please bless me. I want to be a blessing to other women, because I'd gone to school, yet I suffered that much. Then how about those women on the street who didn't even have an education at all? Who is helping them? Who is speaking for them? So I said, if God ever brings me out of this poverty, I will ensure that I give back to the women around my community. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Your life is that you were going through some training without even knowing.
Exactly.
Because
yes.
God has a purpose for all of us, and it's always through our stories, our life, that we can identify that. And you were able to identify that quite early. So what has the journey been like?
It's been awesome. I enjoy working with the women. Basically, what we do for them is, before now, we were doing food item empowerment, little cash for their daily running around. But it wasn't sustainable, because when you give them food items, at the end of the day, they come back when they finished it and they still want more. So let's make this a much more sustainable. Let's set up a skill center like what we have right now, where they can come in and learn different skills: sewing, catering, makeup, bead making, computer. And at the end of the day, once they graduate in 4 to 5 months, we give them items to set up in smaller businesses, and they can stand on their own at that time. So all the while when I was growing up and looking at the poverty around my family, I would always run errands for our rich neighbors, and I'll ask my mom, why are we so poor? Why can't we be like this other family?
You even had rich neighbors?
Yes, because after school hours, we go and wash their clothes, go to the market for them, run all those errands. And my mom would like, maybe their parents are educated, and that was the difference, because my parents were not educated, but they were probably educated. So from that early age, I was going to do all it took to get an education. So I started working towards, that time. I told my mom I must go to the university. So we started selling petty trading.
But you were lucky to even have rich neighbors, because there is this saying, I think from your place, that if you live next to the rich man, two things happen. Yes. You see that? You see that he will harass you with it, or you always enjoy party.
Okay, but in this case, I think we were the poorest family around them.
It inspired you to go to school, to seek education, because it was like role modeling. It was a role model for you. You wanted to get out because you saw
how well they were living, how good it was for them.
You wanted to know their secrets.
That's right.
Okay.
So my mom knew I was very serious, so we started selling food, petty trading. As early as 4:30 a.m., we will have cooked food, go to Balogu Market, I and my mom to hawk this food, we'll sell. Before 8, I've gone to school, she will continue, and she continued that way. We're saving every penny we were making, every kobo that was coming in.
Are you the first child?
I'm even the last. I had elder brothers at that time who were at all, maybe one was already a bus conductor and a driver, and that kind of family where we didn't aspire beyond our immediate environment. So that was why it was a challenge, and my mom was ready to support me. So we're saving all the monies we were making for me to go to university. And after each of the days hustle, when we come back home, she would tell me she's so tired, she's weak. I'll say, Mommy, rest a little bit. I didn't know she was sick, but she didn't tell me. So along the line, I got my admission letter to the university, and I was telling her with joy. She said, okay, we've made enough money for you to go to university. And we were excited, we were happy. A week for me to resume at the university, my mother gave up the ghost. She died. She died at the age of 48. And I knew it was nothing, but it was hardship, it was poverty that killed her. And the money that I was going to go to school with was used for her burial. So it was like as if I had buried my dreams of going to school along with my mother. So it was difficult at that time. But then people saw this girl, she's running mad, she's losing her mind. Let's see what we can do to help her get into the school. That was about a year after my mother's burial. I took the exams again, and people, friends, neighbors contributed for me to go to the university. So I got there with the mindset that I came here with a purpose, with a mission. I want to achieve education and help my family and everybody around me. So I was in school, I was suffering, I never had pocket money, nobody gave me money for school upkeep. So what I was doing was I would go to Yaba Market, tell Joshua, I'll buy white shirts, blue shirts, wash them, iron them, starch them, and sell to my lecturers and to the law students. That was how I survived in school.
What did you study?
Microbiology in Lagos State University. So I was selling cheap makeup to the girls in the hostel, underwears, and after 4 years, I graduated. I thought, yes, I've arrived, that with the certificate I can get a job in any oil company, I'll say goodbye to poverty and all that, but it wasn't that way. 2 years after graduation, I was still looking for a job. And I thought at that time that the cycle of poverty had become generational. From my father's house up till now, it's still following me.
Let's take a break.
Yes.
We'll be right back. Does it sound familiar? You stay with us.
I still couldn't get a job. So it was along that line I met one very cute guy, tall, very huge, dark, handsome, and God said, that's your husband. But there was a problem. He was very broke.
It's the end of the show.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Anukwuru, and we are discussing with Chinyere on how to be an overcomer and much more. If you want to be inspired, you stay with us, you will be. Chinyere, please continue.
Okay. So at that point, I couldn't get a job, and I felt the cycle of poverty had become generational. I felt I was cursed. I felt I was jinxed. From a young age, I've been suffering up until now. Even after going to school, I still couldn't get a job. So it was along that line I met one very cute guy, tall, very huge, dark, handsome, and God said, that's your husband. But there was a problem. He was very broke and very poor. But because it was inspired by God, we got married and moved into this one-room apartment.
You fell in love.
I loved him so much. I still love him so much. So we moved to Ijesha, one-room apartment, where the rent was 1.5 in a month. Between two of us, we couldn't even raise the house rent because he didn't have a job at that time too. So what we devised the means. Every morning before 4:30 a.m. we'll leave the house, before the landlady will wake up, come and embarrass us over the house rent. Then we stay out about maybe 11:30 to 12 midnight, so she's gone to bed. So we come in, sneak back into the house and sleep. He went that way for a while, until I got tired of the whole situation, and I looked at the one room where we lived at that time with 11 other tenants in the compound. You know when you're cooking in the kitchen and you forget your soup in the kitchen, want to go and bring Maggie, before you come the soup will be missing and you won't find the stove again. Or when you put your slippers outside to go and bring, by the time it's gone. That kind of compound.
A book on this.
Yes, that's my book. So that's the kind of one room we lived in. When it rains, you just have to sit it out for days for the water to seep out. So I looked at our property. It was a table we had, a plastic chair, and I moved it to the roadside at the beginning of the street. And I started life as a roadside telephone call operator. What I had on me, yes, and the chair, and the only phone we had at that time. And it was a very demeaning business, very demeaning job, but it was better than begging or dying of hunger. So it was in that situation on the roadside, making the phone call. I got pregnant with our first child. And I thought, how are we going to survive? How are we going to cope? Doctor wrote so many tests, do this scan, bring that one. And whatever little we made from the phone call, we'll go to the clinic with it. Sometimes we don't even go. I was not even eating properly. I wasn't eating well. My only food then was gari jebu or pap, because you quite little or no cooking. I just put the gari and drink it. As a pregnant woman, I didn't have all my drugs for antenatal. And when the day of my delivery came in, doctor said, I want you to go and do this scan. It was because he said he was feeling something that he didn't say. And we didn't have that 1.5 to do that scan at that time. And before you know it, baby was, as I went into labor and baby came out dead.
Oh, stillborn.
Yes, it was a stillbirth. And the doctor said if I had been able to do the scan, he asked for all this while, I'm sure he would have been able to detect that she had some complications, and it was terrible. So I lost that child.
The child was not ready for that kind of suffer.
Yes, I think so.
No,
I think so. I think so. I think so. But it was that at that point I was very depressed. I was so bitter. I felt, what was wrong with me? What kind of life am I living? And I knew I wasn't cut out to die poor. I always had dreams where I would see myself doing this, doing that, doing that. So I tried to marry the two pictures, the scenarios. It wasn't in. So it was in the hospital I started seeking for a solution to my problem. And I found it in God. I was praying, I was reading my Bible, and I saw where God asked Moses, what do you have in your hand? And when he was going to feed the multitude, he told the boy to bring the 5 loaves of bread and 2 fishes. And I know God is a miracle working God. If you wanted to feed them, you can, like he did in the case of manna, he can say, bread, come from heaven. Why ask for the 5 loaves of bread and 2 fishes? Because he wanted to see their involvement, their commitment, their willingness. So I now looked at myself, what do I have as my own rod, as my own 5 stones, as my own 2 fishes? I said to myself, I'd gone to school, but I was thinking that getting a white-collar job was the only way out of poverty. The school was meant to just give me skills and resources and idea and knowledge. Whatever I did with it was left to me. But I didn't look at it as that. I was just thinking, get a job, get a job. So now I started looking at myself, what do I have that God can work with? What is my rod? What is my stone? What is my own fish? And I looked at myself at that time. The only skill I had was I was writing. And I began to write my very first book. I will write, my tears will make holes in my manuscript. And I was telling God, if you can use David's stones to launch him out, you can use this book to launch me. I'm tired of the life I am living. I want a change. I told God to announce me. And at that time, God gave me a divine. After writing the book, for the first time in my life, I saw mercy. Somebody borrowed me money to even print copies of the book. And I said, God, I've printed this book. Who's going to buy? Who's going to launch? I didn't have, remember, no rich uncle, no rich aunt. We are all from poor family. And God gave me one divine idea. I tell people, at times, you might not need so much money at each time. What you need might be just one idea that will transform your life or change your way of doing things. So God told me to write to all the big companies in Lagos without knowing anybody. I'll look at, example, Liver Brothers, and I like, attention, the MDCU, Liver Brothers Nigeria Limited, invites to a book launch. To a book launch. I wrote to PZ Industry. So all the big companies in Lagos, inviting their MDs and managers to my book launch. And because the Bible said that kings will come to the brightness of my rising, on the day of that book launch, people I didn't know were struggling to park their cars. They would just come and say, oh, who is Mrs. Chinyere? I'll say, oh, here I am. We got your letter inviting our MD to your book launch. He's not in the country right now, but he sent us to represent him, So at the end of my book launch on that day, what we realized was enough to set me up in business. I started importing goods.
What an inspiring story. Yes. What an inspiring story. Let's take a break. Okay. Just stay with us. We'll be right back.
I had gone to school, yet I still suffered that much. How about those that have not seen the four walls of any classroom? What levels of poverty are they going through?
It's the Anukwuru show. Oh.
Welcome back. Chinyere is taking us to the next level of how she went into importation.
Yes. Okay, so I started importing.
That was how you left poverty.
Poverty, I kissed poverty goodbye. So, but at the time I started doing well, I remember when I was going through my wilderness, I told God, if you can bring me out of this phase of my life, that I will do whatever it will take me to make sure that no woman around me goes through what I have gone through. Because I had gone to school, yet I still suffered that much. How about those that have not seen the four walls of any classroom? What levels of poverty are they going through? What stage of life? How is hardship? How is it affecting their lives? So I said, God, help me, bless me, so I can be a blessing to all those women. So when I started doing my business, every profit I was making, I started gathering women around my community. I started talking to them. I started teaching them the little I know about skills. And started doing local cooperative where I bring in money and they bring in their own little equity contribution and somebody picks and start up a small business. So we continued that way until we started growing. We're doing so many programs all over Lagos State. And that was how suddenly I got an invitation, a call one time that they would like to see me in the State House. I said, State House, wow. And I didn't know anybody in the State House. I thought it was all these 419 calls. But the call kept on coming. And I said, okay, let me even honor this invitation. And lo and behold, it was the governor of Lagos State who told me they had seen my work in empowering the local and the grassroots women. And that was how the former roadside telephone call operator and recharge card seller became a senior special assistant to the governor of Lagos State on women empowerment.
Wow, that's big. That's big. And the playing ground changed.
It changed seriously. So just shows me that, God's hand is in what we are doing. And ever since then, I've not looked back in giving back to the women around me. Then we started doing programs, seminars, capacity building for all those women. We were giving them relief materials, food items, and little cash to sustain themselves and their family. At the end of the day, they eat up the rice. After 1 or 2 months, they still come back broke and hungry. And the skills that we train them in, at times you don't have resources to set it up. It's like they've not learned anything. So, and that's why I looked and said, what can we now do to make it much more sustainable? So I came up with this center here. Yes, where they can come in and learn different skills for free of charge. So there's sewing skills going on right now. We have catering, we have liquid soap production, disinfectant production, makeup and gele tying, then the computer section for all of them that are interested in learning all these different skills. We work with low-income women. Most of them you see are widows.
Low income.
What
are you talking
women.
about? Low income.
Low income.
No income.
Low income. Vulnerable women. Yeah. And mostly widows and single mothers.
My name is Mrs. Nkechi Eze. I am a widow. I'm 34 years old. So I joined this organization, I think immediately after the death of my husband. That was 4 years ago or 5 years ago, thereabout. And since I joined this safe world, my life changed. As I can see me gleaming my eye before I cannot even shake my eye, because I was saying that all hope is lost immediately after the death of my husband. But when I joined CEFO, I begin to see light and I begin to shine again. Before, I cannot be able to stand in public to talk, because I say, who am I? A young widow that lost, I was 20-something years that time, I think 29 or thereafter. So I lost him. Well, how can I talk in the public? And who will recognize me if I want to talk? But I joined CEFO. Thank God for our founder, Mrs. Shi, and God will bless her. She taught us how to be bold enough. Even my first gown that I wore, they call it, what they call it, this latest gown. She's the one that gave me that gown, my first gown in life that I wore. So I begin to pick more interest joining the self world. And when I got there, they taught us many things. In my business before, even when people want to buy, I would say, if you want to buy, buy. If you don't want to buy, please go. But that first day, she taught us how to maintain our customers, how to package our goods, how to package everything about us. My dear, I went back home and I changed the way I package my business. Even neighbors around begin to ask me, who taught you? And I begin to tell them it's self-word. Now, with my customers, when I package my goods, I give to them, I gain more customers. And my business is expanding more. This is number one thing I gain from self-word.
That's interesting because when you tell someone, I want to empower you, I think you need to show how you do it, what you do, how do you earn money, so that before you can tell somebody, it's not just talking this time. So I went through this, now this is where I am, this is what I do, and all that.
So we also do little loans for the women. What we do is we pull our profit together. Those of them that need loans to do one or two things, they can access our loans at little or no interest rate, very minimal interest rate, and return it back to us.
Great job. More grease to your elbow.
Thank you.
You stay with us, we'll be right back.